So, welcome everyone, thank you for coming. This is if you don't know, I'm Kathleen Sardan, the outreach coordinator here, and we have a goal to do something once a month. If people are interested, on Wednesdays with a theme of healthy habits of some sort. So today we have Richard Rogers from Heart to Home Meals, which is a home delivery service, to tell us about making food choices around nutrition. And we are going to be able to have a complimentary meal from Heart to Home Meals, and we can do some reviews. We'll give you like a Yelp review, 5 stars if they're good. So anyway, without further ado, Richard gets to his talk.
Thanks, Kathleen. Well, thank you very much for coming out on a cold day like today. Just want to tell you very briefly about Heart to Home Meals. We started over 30 years ago in the UK. We're throughout Europe now, still family owned. Then over 10 years ago, we opened up in Canada, where our food is produced with less additives than are added in the U.S. because Canada does not allow as many additives, fortunately. But our food is FDA approved. We have over 160 meals to choose from, mostly in the main meal size, which you'll get today. And then we also have the mini meal and then a hearty meal. And with the hearty meals, sometimes couples even get those and split those, they're so big. We have special diets, low sodium, low calorie, high fiber, and I think the higher protein. To tell you more about us locally, we are in Marlboro. We're 8 miles down the road. We have our own drivers. We have our own in-house customer service staff, which are just incredible folks. I think they're talking to their mother or their grandmother when they're on the phone. Of course, some of them are grandmothers, one's a great-grandmother, so it's a variety of people there. Drivers are great. They got to know our customers. They go out of their way to do whatever you needed. When they deliver, you need to be home or leave a cooler out so that they can leave the food, but you need to let us know if we're going to do that in case you have an appointment or something can't be there. But if you even need for them to put the food into your freezer, they'll be willing to do that. They've been known to change a light bulb too. They won't clean out your gutters or mow your grass. So. But I do know that one even shoveled the sidewalk for snow too. So we do have a great group of people that we work with. And basically, 3 things to remember about us is free delivery, no minimum, and no subscription or contract. Like ordering a pizza, you get it when you want it. And once a week we deliver to Stow. And as long as you order before 2 o'clock the day before, you can get your order. And then we give you a 2-hour window of when the driver will arrive as well. So you have a pretty good idea about that. And also, we do have a special today, which is good through March 31st. But if you order, we also today, you can write in a free dessert as well as the 5 meals for $25. And so we have that 5 meals for $25 as well as the free dessert. It can be cake, pie, muffin, or brownie. And you'll get to try brownies today and the apple pie. And our brownie is gluten-free, but you would not know it. So anyway, I'm going to move on because I want to stay within a time frame here. I want to talk about healthy eating. And I'm going to talk first about fruits and vegetables. And absolutely eat fruits and vegetables, nothing like fresh produce. You get all these things from it, minerals, vitamins, antioxidants, which are key, especially fighting cancer and things like that. And you get your dietary fiber. And you need to try to get 7 to 9 servings a day, and mostly in veggies. And this kind of gives you an idea of the veggies that you do get as far as what you need. 2 cups of leafy green salads, the cup of chopped veggies, or 100% vegetable juice. So you aim for 2 to 4 servings of the fruit, a half a banana, half a grapefruit, half a cup of dried fruit. And oftentimes dried fruit is full of sugar, so you want to keep that to a minimum. 1 medium sized piece of fresh fruit. We have papaya there. I love mangoes. I used to have mangoes growing in my yard in Florida. I love those. And canned fruit. Now, if you do canned fruit, we'll talk about that in a little while too. Talking about the fruits and vegetables, when you do get canned fruit, be sure you get it in its own juices or in water, but not in heavy syrup, which is laden with added sugar. And the rainbow. How many of you got a rainbow of vegetables when you eat? And fruits. All these things are great. Carrots and oranges, though, do have their own natural sugars in them. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries are great antioxidants as well as a good source of vitamin C. Now we're going to talk about vitamin K, which is potassium. Basically, to look at that, it can help lower your blood pressure. These are a couple meals that we have that are high in potassium. Our steak and mushroom casserole, a turkey with a cranberry orange sauce. Cranberry orange together is a great combination. That's one of my favorite drinks, is to mix cranberry and orange juice together. Now I want to talk about fats. There are healthy fats and there are bad fats. And your body needs these fats to function properly. And the good fats are the monosaturated and the polysaturated fats. And there are a lot of sources for them: nuts, seeds, avocados, olives, flax seeds, and fatty fish. Trans fats and saturated fats are considered the bad fats. Those are the kinds of things that used to be in the deep fryers in the fast food restaurants. And most of them have tried to do away with that type of fat. And they raise your LDL, which is your bad cholesterol. And these are some of the meals that we have that are in the low saturated fat. The tomato and herb glazed haddock, sliced turkey and gravy, and beef teriyaki. So you can have some delicious meals. Yes?
Those numbers that are in the red, is that the calories?
Now, the red numbers are the code numbers for the meal. So when you order a meal, if you go by that number, you'll be sure that you get that. Because we have several of each thing, obviously with all the choices, different types of turkey, same with the fish and the teriyakis. We have a chicken teriyaki as well. So that's what that's about. The 2G, 0G, those mean the number of grams of saturated fats in there. And when it comes to low saturated fats, you want to choose lean cuts of meat, and you also want to look for things that have omega-3s in them. And cold water fish, and there are quite a few. These are just a few. The tuna, cod, haddock, which you see a lot around here, trout, sardines, and herring, and salmon, of course. How many of you eat seafood, fish? Good. At least once a week? We'll talk about some tips. Prepare your food with cooking oils that contain healthier fats like olive or avocado oil. I use a lot of grapeseed oil. I did in my restaurant too. I have a various background in gerontology and in culinary. So now I'm combining it all into what I'm doing now, which is a lot of fun. Eat skinless poultry at least twice a week. And then limit your red meat. Try to limit it to no more than one a week. And of course, the fish 2 to 3 times a week.
I even drink pills, fish oil, pills, fish oil.
Fish oil? Mm-hmm. That's good for you, absolutely. One thing I will say before I go any further is, before you change anything or add anything or start taking fish oils or doing anything like that, check with your doctor first. Based on your health situation, your medications, all these things, changing your diet could create problems. Greens, sometimes you have to be careful with them if you're on blood thinners, things like that, and doctors will tell you that. Sometimes things like grapefruit juice can enhance medication. So your doctor would be the source to talk with about any changes in your diet. And we talk about omega-3. And this is something that's really good for your brain, feeds your brain. Your brain needs this. And we talked about the fish. Here are some of our fish options. Here we have fish Florentine, crumb top cod and lemon sauce, which is what we're having today for those of you that wanted the cod. And then we have pink salmon with roasted peppers and tomato sauce. So our chefs, we have two chefs, Tim and Mark, that do a fantastic job creating all of these meals. And I have always been big on sauces, and they make some very good, healthy sauces in a lot of tasty meals. Now, our produce, the vegetables are all fresh vegetables. They don't salt them or do anything like that to them because we want to maintain the low sodium. So when you get these meals, if you want to add Smart Balance or butter or whatever to the vegetables, or you want to add salt, that's an option. They're going to be bland otherwise. The same with the mashed potatoes, things like that. You do need to, if you like salt and you can have salt, you can add that to it. So I wanted to let you know, but as far as the main entree, they make these very flavorful and very delicious, and they would have oftentimes the sodium in them. And as far as
Sorry,
make-
can I ask,
yes.
This food frozen or ready and bring?
Yes, it's frozen. Our fish is actually still raw in the container, but the chefs have created ways to par cook some of the vegetables, things like that, so that they're done. But when you cook them in the microwave or the oven, they go from the freezer to the oven or microwave, then they all come out evenly cooked, so that the rice is already cooked
Only
some.
put in microwave.
It can go into the microwave, yes.
No, how many days it's ready?
These come frozen and sealed in a container that's about 6 by 9 by about 1.5 inches high. That's the main size meal. And it takes about 7 or 8 minutes for most meals in microwave for an average wattage microwave. And we also give you a chart to use for your particular microwave, whether it's 700 or 1100 watts.
No, I understand. How many days this food hold on somewhere before bring?
Oh, well, it's flash frozen immediately as soon as it's produced. It's sealed and flash frozen and kept at 0 to 10 below zero in a freezer. And then we store it in our freezer in Marlboro, and then we have freezer vans that our drivers deliver the food to you in. And the food needs to stay frozen until you cook it. So it goes from the freezer to the oven or microwave. But it will keep for a long time. But the thing is, the longer you keep anything, even in the freezer, it diminishes in flavor, freshness, texture, that type of thing. That's why we deliver every week, so you get what you need. If it's 2 or 3 or 4 meals a week, or if you want to get 7 meals a week, and it doesn't take up a lot of room in your freezer either, but also it's fresher that way.
Understand. Thank you.
You're welcome. And plant source of omega-3s. There are a lot of ways to get it. Chia seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, and hemp seeds. And enjoy 2 or 3 meatless meals a week. In my restaurant, I had vegetarian night because all my produce was fresh produce. And especially on Thursday nights, when the truck came around with all the fresh produce, I would pick from that, and then I would create the menu for the day based on that. Now there are other, yes?
Fish, sushi, you can do it too? Sushi and Chinese food, you do it or not?
No, we do have teriyaki, but we don't do any sushi or anything like that. That's a fresh product that we don't. All of ours are frozen products.
Okay.
There are a lot of other ways to get your omega-3s. Believe it or not, oatmeal, soups, yogurt, smoothies. How many of you eat smoothies or drink smoothies?
Smoothie is good.
Yes, that's the one where you can throw all kinds of fruits and vegetables together and create some very unique flavors.
Very good.
Just salads. split pea soup, especially this time of year.
Chia seeds you put in the food too? Chia seeds.
Yes, absolutely. Sprinkle those on your salad or in your soup or things like that, absolutely. And they're a tremendous source of that. The garbanzo bean salad, even hummus, which is made from garbanzo beans, is great. And then bean-based burgers. How many of you had the bean-based burgers before? The black bean burgers. I had them back in the 90s when they first came out. I thought they were great. And of course, tofu. Anybody eat tofu? Okay. Now we're going to move on to protein. Great muscle building as well. And as we get older, our muscles atrophy, so we do need to keep that up with the protein. And just to look at it, the FDA recommends about 50 grams of protein for an average 2,000 calorie diet. And to give you an idea of how much protein, they're talking about 1 ounce of protein is equal to like a half cup of beans, or peas or lentils, a third of a cup of tofu, 1 ounce of nuts or seeds, or 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. I eat a lot of nuts. Walnuts are great for you. They're one of the best things for you. Do you eat walnuts?
I have a question. I have a question.
Okay.
How does the ounce translate to grams?
That's a good question. And I've got to figure that out so I can add that to the
Okay.
slides. But this kind of gives you an idea of portion sizes for you to be eating. Recommended 1 egg or 2 egg whites to get the protein. But I will get that information. And if you want to contact our office later, I'll be glad to get that for you. Okay, high protein meals that we have, the Swiss steak. This gives you an idea of the number of grams in here, so you can see you get over half of the amount of protein that you need for the day in these. The honey garlic chicken, and we have the scrambled eggs with sausages, and we also have the baked beans, so you can see the English influence in that from our jolly old company in England. And to talk about how much protein you need based on your body weight, you take 7 grams for each 20 ounces or 20 pounds of body weight, and you multiply it by 0.36, and that would give you your daily requirement. So example, a 140-pound person needs about 50 grams a day. So if you weigh less, you need less. If you weigh more, you need more. And of course, talking about fiber. And dietary fiber is basically, we have 2 types. We have, and we'll talk about that, the soluble here. And it's found in whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. And that includes the skins of a lot of fruits. Just be sure that when you eat fruits and you eat the skins of fruits that you do wash them thoroughly because of pesticides and that type of thing that are on there. Now there are 2 types, soluble and insoluble, and a balanced diet in fiber helps the body with controlling your blood sugar levels, reduces cholesterol, prevent gastrointestinal disease, regulates the bowels, manages your weight, and eliminates waste. So it does a lot of things, so you absolutely need to be sure that you get fiber in your diet. How many of you eat a high-fiber cereal for breakfast even? And how many of you eat whole grain bread, not whole wheat, but whole grain bread? So look for these clues, whole grain versus whole wheat, that type of thing. Those are a few of the tips that I would recommend that you look for. The same with things like brown rice and things like that, where you have the outer shell still on there. That's the fiber. And these are a couple of the meals that are high in fiber. The barley and broccoli risotto and the Swedish-style meatballs. And really, high fiber basically must contain about 5.6 grams of fiber. And to explain that a little more, well, let me go back to that. The FDA says that to call something high fiber, it needs to have 20% of the meal needs to be in fiber. And so it recommends 28 grams of fiber per day. And of course, that can vary, but it's good to get about that. So if you look at when you get processed foods, which I try to stay away from, except maybe cereals, things like that, but always look for the fiber in those and see that you're getting the higher fiber in that when you're getting those products that are processed. And speaking of processed, I want to talk about whole grains. And we want to aim for 3 to 6 servings per day. And you want to stay away from the white products like the white bread, the pasta that's not whole wheat, the rice that is the white rice. You want to look more for whole grain cereals, oats, not the instant oats, but the ones that you have to cook. I like the steel cut Irish oats. They are the ones with the most fiber and are incredible. And I've got a whole nother story to tell you about that sometime when I come back. But that's something that literally helped save my life, was that when I was not eating hardly anything. Brown rice, quinoa. Do you know what quinoa is? It's a complete protein, but it's a seed like, and it kind of resembles, a lot of people confuse it, and I just lost the thought there. The word I'm trying to think of, but it is obviously gluten-free. And barley, how many of you eat barley? Barley soup or any of those things? Those are some of the things to look for. And of course, some of the things you can get, the bread, tortillas, popcorn. I could eat bowls of popcorn. How many of you are Patriots fans, first of all, or were Patriots fans? Okay, so anyway, during the season, sitting around, we eat popcorn as a healthy snack for watching that. So those are things. So we're going to move on to the carbs. It's almost time for lunch here, and just wanted to tell you that 45 to 65% of your calories need to come from carbs, and because it provides energy for your cells, your tissues, your organs. Obviously, you don't want too much of it, but the complex carbohydrates, like the whole grains we were talking about, and some simple carbohydrates provide vitamins, minerals, and fiber. And these are some meals that have less than 30 carbs. The savory mushroom chicken, the pork loin with applesauce, and the turkey with apple and sage sauce. So as you can see, you can keep your carbs down but still eat some very enjoyable meals. And then, of course, we're going to talk about dairy. Isn't that the cutest cow you've ever seen? So anyway, I love this one. 3 servings or less per day of dairy. I love ice cream. If I have it in the freezer, I'm going to eat it, so we try not to keep ice cream. But it is a great source of calcium. Most dairy products do contain saturated fat. And so stick to the low versions of fat when you get these products, whether it's yogurt, milk, any of those things. Try to keep it the low fat. And after a while, I found I used to drink the whole milk, and Now I'm down to 2% milk, and when I drink the whole milk, it doesn't taste that good to me. And even butter doesn't taste as good as it used to. So you kind of acclimate to things. My coffee, I drink it without sugar now. When I was young, I used to drink 2 teaspoons of sugar in a cup of coffee. So you can make these changes. Just do it slowly, gradually, and you'll find that after a while it works out for you, and you'll feel better too. And if you can't tolerate dairy products, use the alternatives such as almond milk, which I love, especially the vanilla almond milk, soy or oat milk, and I think it's also coconut milk, and I've had that as well, where it's not quite as healthy, but these are all alternates as far as that would go. And these are some of our dairy-free meals. That includes our sesame chicken, which is absolutely delicious. Tomato and herb glazed haddock again there. And then our chicken teriyaki. Now, it is higher in sodium, obviously because of the soy sauce in there, but that's extremely well-balanced meal there. That's one of our most popular. We sell out of that.
Its calories, right numbers, 147, 109, 749, what it's not.
Oh, these are the numbers for ordering. That's the number of the meal itself. Right. It's kind of like when you go to these takeout Chinese restaurants, they have the menus with numbers beside each one, and so you order by number, and that's basically the same idea. So that
usually you have every dish meat or fish, yes?
Yeah.
Everything you know what you want, and every dish has meat or fish.
no, we do have, as I showed you earlier, we do have some meals that have no meat in them
And fish.
or fish. They're right. They're strictly vegetarian meals, and we're working on getting even more of them, more of the vegetarian meals.
No, you can order what you want.
Absolutely.
Okay. How you want meat.
Well, exactly. The meal comes as you see it. Now, it will come already in a package with the chosen vegetables. But you choose the meal itself already put together.
Phone number.
Right.
Okay.
And low sodium. How many of you are very cognizant of it and watch your sodium intake? The FDA recommends a maximum of 2,300 milligrams for the average person. But as we get older and our blood pressure goes up, things like that, we need to consider things a little differently even than this. But this is the maximum that they recommend. And of course, your heart needs it, the electrolytes in your body, and for proper hydration, you need some sodium, or your body would not work. And of course, you know the risk of heart disease, stroke, blood pressure issues from too much sodium. And to give you an idea, another way to figure out how much sodium is the 140 milligrams of sodium or less per 100 milligrams or 100 grams of meal weight. And so that's how we look at whether we have low sodium. And in our catalog and even online, you'll find that each meal will tell you if it's low sodium, or it'll have symbols there. But also in our catalog, we do have a chart that gives you a complete breakdown of all the nutrients and the values of them. So if you're looking for certain things with potassium or any of the others, that will give you all that information.
Right there about cholesterol, a lot of cholesterol or less cholesterol.
It will have low fat, low cholesterol, low fat or low salt. It'll have a symbol beside each one to show you which ones are that. And also online, you can call up the ones that are just that as well. And also you can look for the ones online. It'll pull up just the ones that have no dairy or no gluten or things like that as well. But the recommendation is that for people who are on a low sodium diet, that you restrict your diet to 1,500
milligrams per day as far as that would go. That's about 2/3 of a teaspoon of sodium or salt. And these are some options here that are low salt or low sodium. The chicken thigh with the creamy tomato sauce, the Swiss steak, and the meatloaf with rich onion gravy, which I don't even like meatloaf, and I love that. So they've done a great job with that. And last but not least, desserts. Does anybody not like dessert? That's my big downfall. So I have to be very careful about that. Well, we do eat a little bar of dark chocolate every night. That's our dessert. And then once in a while, my wife bakes an apple pie or something like that, or I bake a pumpkin pie. But for the most part, we try to stay away from that and enjoy it, so that once in a while you can do that. And today is one of those days, so you do get desserts. We give you sampling, small pieces, but you get to sample that as well. The main thing is natural sugar versus the added sugar. And some fruits and some veggies, as we talked about, do have some natural sugars in them. But look for labels that show where sugar has been added to things. You want to try to avoid that as much as possible. I drink cranberry juice, but I'll give you a tip. I didn't know for a long time it existed, but they have concentrate, and it's in a bottle, and it's just pure cranberry juice. No sugar added, no water. And what I do is I put a little bit in a glass and add water to that, and I can drink that, and it's perfectly fine. So try some things like that too. And I will tell you that our apple, which you'll have today, apple pie, our cherry and our blueberry pie are no sugar added. So does anyone have any questions? Yes?
All of the meals that come with sauces, is it already on it or is it separate and you can add it? Or
No, it's in the sauce already, yes. Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Yes.
Is this stuff baked in Marlboro or made up in Marlboro and frozen here, or does it come from Canada?
It's Canada, frozen in Canada and then shipped here, yes. Uh-huh.
You basically have frozen stuff.
Right. Okay.
Can we hold for questions? We have a few people that need to leave at 12:30.
Oh, sure, absolutely, yes.
Is that all right?
Okay, you can ask more questions as we're eating, okay? All right, so we're going to start serving now. So thank you very much.